Howdy, folks. It's your boy here, and we are back. We got some builds today for my man Zayn. He should be dropping tomorrow. He's going to be a Grand Hero Battle, and he seems like he's going to be a very good unit. Typically, I'll do builds videos if I think the unit is worth building. So that's why I don't always do builds. I might even do a builds video for Medius also, because he's a demote that I think is also someone who could be very valuable to get to plus 10, and he's got a lot of use cases for Arena and so on and so forth. But today we're checking out Zayn. He's going to be a Blue Tome Infantry type, and he works very similar to his other counterpart, the Halloween Zayn, who was a very interesting and memorable unit for his playstyle back in the day, where he just borrows the stats of all of his allies that are close by. So this is the new Zayn's stat spread. We'll start there. He's got 48 HP. He's got 43 attack, 46 speed, 23 defense, and 28 res. Gives him 188 BST overall, so unfortunately his scoring isn't going to be the craziest. If we take a look over here, Noma is going to be our stand-in for Zayn, because Zayn is not available on the score calculator yet. They have both the same BST, and both of them have a preference weapon. They're both infantry tome types. So Zayn is going to be in the 760 scoring bin. Still can't top Cyril, man. I don't know what the deal is. Like, did the devs just love Cyril that much that he had to be the gatekeeper for arena scoring for every range unit that would ever come out after him? I don't know. Don't ask me. Don't look at me. I don't know why Cyril is this good, but he just is. All right, then we have, of course, the infantry, or not infantry, but the melee ones. Panette and Marnie still all the way at the top. I believe the new Medius should score at least as high or higher than Panette. I haven't ran the numbers yet, but yeah, that guy is just very good. So this is where Zayn is going to stand. Unfortunately, he isn't going to be good enough for arena scoring, I don't think. However, that's not really any reason not to want to build him. We've seen this before in the past where maybe a free-to-play unit isn't the best at scoring, but that doesn't mean they're not a good unit to build up. He also has one super boon. It's on plus HP, which, if you remember with the Halloween Zayn, HP is really the only stat that he wants to get anyway, so that's perfectly fine. Okay, now let's go ahead and take a look at his weapon here. So Ancient Trickery grants a flat HP up 5. At start of turn, if he is over 25% HP, then he inflicts speed and res -7 and sabotage on the closest foe and any foes in 2 spaces of that foe through the next action. So just Omni map-wide debuffs. It basically targets the nearest foe and then chain debuff to enemies in 2 spaces of that foe. Very good. Always great when they give this to units because it's just free debuffing just for existing. So we'll definitely take that. Then also, at the start of combat, if his HP is over 25%, then he gets a bonus to all of his stats equal to 25% of the foe's attack at the start of combat -4, with a max of 14, which, I mean, this is already a strong enough stat buff that you could make the case you could use him without him stealing stats from allies. Like, if we take a look at his base attack at 43 and speed at 46, those are respectable enough when you're considering that he'd be getting plus 14 to all his stats. Let's just quickly take a look. How much attack would the enemy need to have for that to be at max? So 14, it's 25%, so I guess we do 14 times 4 here. So 56, which, I mean, everybody is going to have 56 attack. Even Zayn probably has that. Yeah, once you factor in his weapon might, he's going to get 14 from his weapon. His base attack is 43. He's already at 57. He's already, if he was fighting himself, he would be getting plus 14 to all stats. So just remarkably easy stats to be getting there. So that's very good. Then he also gains a bonus to all his stats equal to the highest respective stat from allies in 3 spaces minus his stat value. So basically, he's just going to reflect whatever the highest or lowest stats are of the allies that are surrounding him. And if his stat ends up being higher, he's actually going to lower his stat to match whatever the lowest stat would be of the ally that's closest. So when you're using Zayn, you want to make sure that he's surrounded by allies that all have better stats than him, so that he can just end up getting stat gains by being close by. All right, then also he deals damage equal to 20% of his speed just for free. Doesn't work on AoEs, unfortunately. An AoE build actually would have been pretty sick on him if he was able to get that, but he doesn't. So just free 20% bonus damage based on speed. And then he gets a flat 7 DR on the enemy's first attack and brave attack. So on paper already, not even accounting for his gimmick of needing to be close by to allies, he's already good. Like, his preference weapon does a lot of damage. You could easily turn him into a nuker if you wanted to. So he's just certified good. So let's compare him actually to the Halloween Zayn first. Let's take a look at the Refined Joker's Wild and see what this does. Okay, so HP up 5 and then gets free close counter, which actually that's really good that the Halloween Zayn gets that. All right, then also if unit is in 3 spaces of an ally, gets all stats of 5, a bonus to all stats equal to the highest respective stat of allies in 3 spaces. Okay, that part is the same, but the new Zayn is getting all stats of 14. Halloween Zayn only gets all stats of 5, so 9-point differential on stats. And then the Halloween Zayn also gets bonus damage based on 20% of speed, so that's largely the same. It's just that the new one gets more stats. And then at the start of player phase or enemy phase, gets all stats of 6, Hexblade, and Null Panic to allies in 3 spaces of unit for 1 turn. So Halloween Zayn is giving, instead of doing a debuff with Sabotage and stat debuffs, he does stat bonuses and status support effects to allies in 3 spaces of him. And then also, if unit is in 3 spaces of an ally, grants all stats of 5 and reduce damage from foe's first attack by 20% of the greater of unit's defense or res during combat on their first attack and brave attack. And then also, if the foe's attack can trigger their special and his res is better than the foe's res plus 5, then you inflict Scowl on the enemy. So, looking at both of these side by side, they're not really all that much different. It's just that this guy is a seasonal demote, the Halloween Zayn, whereas this one is a Grand Hero battle unit, so he's going to be way easier to get to plus 10. Doesn't cost any orbs whatsoever, and at the end of the day, he is still getting more stats. I would have liked it if they gave him the close counter effect, though. That would be dope. But we're probably going to get a close counter Sacred Seal eventually anyway, so that's not the biggest deal. So yeah, pretty comparable to the Halloween Zayn, but he's better in some ways, maybe he's worse in some ways. And then we have Gris here, who's another unit I wanted to compare him to, just for the case of saying this Zayn could easily be a nuking unit if you wanted him to be. So Gris is known for his ability to Brave Attack. His weapon has 9 Might on Nova, which it has innate Brave, so that's why they lower the Might a little bit. But he's got Kanto Ally 5, he gets Attack up 3, he gets the innate Brave. For each foe in 5 spaces unit, he can Warp to them. He's doing basically a similar debuff. He does Attack and Res -7 and Sabotage. Zayn does Speed and Res -7 and Sabotage. And then if a bonus or penalty effect is active on the unit or foe, then he gets a bonus to attack and res equal to 20% of his res at the start of combat plus 6. Now, Zayn is easily eclipsing this guy's stats. He's getting all stats of 14 and then 20% bonus damage based on speed. Gris is not going to be able to match that. Plus, you got to count in the fact that he's at -5 might for having a brave weapon. All you would have to do with this guy is get brave support on him and then slap the Lin Ring on him, and all of a sudden he could just be a better nuker than Gris. So yeah, just to put that into perspective for some people who might think this guy is just like a gimmicky stat-stealing unit. No, he's actually a lot more than just that. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the builds here. We have quite a couple because there's a lot of skills that just work on him. Just the playstyle that he's going for and just the quality of skills of being an infantry-type unit. He's got access to a lot here. So we're going to start with this one. This is more of a like Omni-Tank style of build. We got Close Bonus Doubler in here, which gives us dual phase stats and then Close Counter. We got Lagoo's Loyalty, which is, I mean, it's the better of the two for fast units. If you're running like either Lagoo's Friend or Lagoo's Loyalty, faster units probably just want Lagoo's Loyalty, while slower units would probably just want to go for Lagoo's Friend. So for this one, we're going for that. And then also it combos a little better with Frost Moon, where Frost Moon itself nullifies enemies' non-special DR, whereas Lagoo's Friend already does that. So you'd probably want to run a different special with that instead of Frost Moon. So yeah, we got that. Reposition Gate should probably be like the bread and butter assist you're going to give him. And then Lin Ring, like I said, I think Lin Ring is his best option because he doesn't really want to move away from allies. So just having him stand still and being able to attack from far is probably the best way to go. But obviously the Sigurd Ring and Celica Ring are going to work very well on him also. And then whatever flavor of Times Pulse skill you want to go for. There's like 50 of them, man. We got Times Pulse Edge, we got Pulse On Blades, we got Pulse Up Blades, we got Creation Pulse. I think we got a recent one too, a different one from... What was it? There was like a random dragon unit that had a different version of Times Pulse. So like there's just so many. And they're all very minute in what their differences are. So it's pretty much just pick your favorite. And then Null Sea Echo, which should go without saying for an Omni-Tank style of build like this. The Sacred Seal we're going for here is HP 5 and then Defense and Res up 3. I thought that would be the ideal one because, like we said before, he really wants to stack HP as much as possible because that's the only stat that he can't steal from allies. So you go for HP, and then you want to go for 2 stats that aren't really that high, so they're not going to hurt his chances of stealing stats from allies. So his defense and res are the lowest, his attack and speed are the highest. So I just went for a stat that, or a seal that raised those visible stats for that reason. Okay, this is basically another Omni-tanking build. It's the same spirit of the first build we looked at, but with some different skills for different flavor. So we're going for Flare and Lagoo's Friend instead of Lagoo's Loyalty and Frost Moon. Close Foil surprisingly is good, and the reason why is because there's a lot of skills right now that neutralize ally or foe's bonuses. Like Marnie, for example, gives that as a status effect. We just got Lull Echo, and like there's a lot of skills now that just neutralize bonuses. So Close Bonus Doubler, as good as it is, it's also kind of running out of consistency now, whereas Close Foil, as long as the foe initiates on you and they're not a dragon, you're going to get the attack and defense up 5 and the close counter there. What would have been really good is if he could run Prime. I think Prime skills are low-key kind of back now because they just give you in-combat drive stats, and they're also giving you close counter or distant counter if you've got 4 active bonuses, which is very easy to upkeep right now. So, yeah, low-key Prime skills are kind of back. Close Bonus Doubler is kind of on the fall. So that's the reasoning behind that. And then we got Breath of Life 4. You could go for that too. I mean, cooldown pulse support or like stat support. There's also other skills you could go for, like odd defense wave and speed defense wave. If you wanted to get, like, in the case of speed wave, you would get null follow-up, or defense wave, you would get tempo there. So those are also options. Also providing stat bonuses to allies. Same Sacred Seal, same Echo skill there. So yeah, it's really just pick your flavor. You could even mix and match like skills on here. If you want to run Breath of Life 4 on this build, be my guest, right? There's not really much of a difference. And then we have also the player phasing builds, because like I said, he can definitely do that. You would definitely want Brave support, though, from either Catria or Cordelia or whoever. Desert Marissa, doesn't really matter. So we got perfect attack and speed here, gives us a lot of attack and speed and built-in null follow-up, which is great. Occult Strike, which is a really good DPS skill, but also you could go for Resonance if you want. He's got more than enough HP to be able to pull that off. So you'd be getting the full 12 points of true damage and the full 60% DR on enemies' non-pierceable DR. So yeah, either or is fine. They're both really good and they both work. Resonance works on the enemy phase, though. Like, that could be one thing that you may want to consider. Whereas Occult Strike only works if you player phase into the enemy. Not that big of a deal, though. Alright, then Creation Pulse or Pulse on Blades, whichever one. They both give you -2, but at different instances. Creation Pulse gives you -2 before your first attack. And then Pulse on Blades gives you -2 before your first follow-up, which could be better in some cases if the enemies have Scowl skills and things like that. This is a cheeky little way to get around Scowl. And then we got Tempo Echo on this build, but over here we've got Tempo as a Sacred Seal. We got Lull Echo on this build for neutralizing enemy stats and then getting some stat drops if they have bonuses. Tempo Echo over here cuts DR in half because we're not running Resonance. Resonance already cuts DR. So on this build, we didn't have that, so we go for Tempo Echo. Frost Moon does neutralize DR completely, but on the regular attacks, and if you're giving him Brave support, you'll still want to be able to pierce DR in some way. So Tempo Echo could work there, or just give him Lull Echo and run like Baby Camilla support or Legendary Camilla support or whoever support. Even like New Year Needhogger, who gives damage reduction pierce support to allies in 2 spaces. There's just so many ways to customize these units now. It's crazy. So yeah, there you go. Those are the builds possibilities for Zayn here. Lots of different skills. Like I said, a lot of things work on him, and he can go for a variety of different play styles, so just pick your favorite. And that's pretty much it for this one, so hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will catch y'all again on the flip side.